Right out of the gate, we've got authority versus accountability, and it escalates fast. A sergeant steps in, but instead of de-escalating, he's about to blur the line between lawful policing and intimidation. Watch closely. Is this about safety or control?
Get the drone down now.
Why?
Because you flied over private property. This officer's going to take your
I
details.
was just having a look at your marked cars and stuff. That's what it was.
Yeah, well, there's
People
private
interested.
cars there as well. So get the drone down now. He's going to take your details and run you through, all right? You can't be flying it over police property. Yeah.
Why?
Because it's private
I
property.
do it all the time, mate. It's fine.
No, it's not fine. He's going to get your details. Get the drone down now.
To be fair, I'd finished anyway. I'll take the drone down because I don't want to be keeping it in the air while I'm talking to you.
No, we'll get it down
but
now.
It's fine over police property. It's fine.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, because there's private cars in there.
Yeah, not after
All right.
that. Not interested. I'm interested in the vans.
I don't care what you're interested in.
Okay.
All right?
Well, I don't care what your concern is, mate, but I'm trying to allay your concern.
If you're concerned about me, and I don't care if you record it.
Here's where things get shaky. The officer claims interference, but the footage suggests otherwise. Filming in a public place, especially police, is generally lawful. So the real question is, can simply standing there with a camera ever count as obstruction? Or is that being stretched to shut someone down? Let me know what you think.
I'm Sergeant 4616 Roberts.
Thank you very much.
All right?
I'm going to land the drone.
Land the drone.
We'll talk.
They'll take
All right.
your details. All right?
Won't be taking no details, buddy.
Hey?
Won't be taking
They
no
will be
details.
taking your details, or
Will
they'll
they?
be taking the drone.
Right from the start, things go sideways. The sergeant storms off, barking orders about private property and demanding the drone be brought down. Let's set the record straight. While the police station itself may be private, the airspace above falls under the jurisdiction of the Civil Aviation Authority, CAA, not the local police. As long as the drone is flying within CAA regulations, there's no offense. The sergeant's claim that the auditor must hand over personal details or face having the drone seized is entirely baseless. Under UK law, officers can't just take someone's property or demand identification without valid suspicion of a real crime. Throwing out commands and threats without any legal justification isn't policing. It's nothing more than intimidation.
Yes, really.
So, they're only entitled to details if I've been suspected of committed an offence.
Which you have. We don't know who you are, okay?
That's not an offence, buddy.
This is a CT. It's a counter-terrorist site, all right?
Is it?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Well, you do now.
I didn't know that.
All right?
So
So that's because the security is there, and all private cars and covert cars are parked out the back.
I don't like your approach,
Okay.
but I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm doing a video on the police vehicles today.
Right.
Didn't know that was the type of site it is.
Okay, but we need to get your details.
But I don't
we
give
don't
details.
know who you
I'm
are.
going to land that. I'll come over. All right.
Right. If we don't take your details, we're going to seize your drone. Simple as that.
And then I'll be civil claiming against you because
can
I have
civil
not.
claim all you like,
I have not
but
committed
you're
an
flying
offence.
it over police property.
That's not an offence, buddy.
Where there's covert.
Let me land it. We'll
It's
talk.
a CT site. Land the thing now.
I do this a lot.
I've never seen anything like this in my life, mate. For you to tell me that it's okay to fly over private property at police.
And now we've hit a turning point. Legal jargon starts flying. Section 5, seizure, evidence. But here's the catch. Laws aren't magic words you can just say to gain power. They require specific grounds. So ask yourself, are these laws being applied, or just used as pressure tactics?
Site, which is a counter-terrorist site.
Okay, I didn't know that
custody.
bit.
Well, you do.
The sergeant now claims he's never encountered anything like this before and tosses out the term counterterrorism site to justify his actions. Let's clear this up. Burton Police Station is not officially designated as a protected site under the Official Secrets Act or any specific counterterrorism legislation. Simply labeling it as counterterrorism doesn't grant the police any special powers, nor does it place legal drone flights operating within CAA rules under restriction. This has nothing to do with terrorism. It's about a sergeant who clearly lacks knowledge of drone laws and the proper use of counterterrorism legislation. Using terrorism as an ambiguous threat to intimidate someone who is lawfully filming from public airspace is not only misleading, it's reckless and the kind of policing that damages public trust.
Well, security then.
Because you do know. What do you mean security?
What I'm saying is, right,
Well,
I fly
can
drones
you see
over.
how it looks to me, all right?
If you've never seen anything.
We all do no, you're not listening to me. Because we all do
You're not going to get a word in, are you?
different roles.
Go on, you have your say.
So it's a counter-terrorist site for custody.
Right, so you've got custody here.
Pardon?
You got custody here. I didn't even know that.
I'm saying, yeah, well, I'm telling
right.
you,
On the camera I was saying, I can't see a custody suite, maybe they have one, I don't know.
You see those windows there?
Right, got you.
On the bottom?
Yeah. I didn't know that.
So, yeah, it's a CT site, all right, mate, I've worked here for 25 years, I've never seen anybody fly a drone over here.
Have you never?
And I've never seen...
It's quite a common thing.
Not challenge.
They may have. It's a common thing these days. People do it.
Not when there's private vehicles parked out there, okay? Some of us...
Yeah, I'm not interested in that.
Have to have well, I don't know what you're videoing.
Somebody could film here, you're coming out. It's the same thing, isn't it?
Exactly. And we'll challenge them as well.
Well, fair enough.
But when it's up and over there, I literally just got out of my car and I've got a drone overhead.
I stayed high enough. It's a wide lens. It won't catch you. I'm trying to allay your concern.
I know.
You genuinely seem concerned.
But I genuinely don't know who you are.
You don't need to.
The conversation starts with security trying to make sense of the situation, claiming the auditor's actions don't make sense to them. They argue that if the auditor doesn't understand, they must be confused or misinformed. The security...
This is where it all unravels. Policies ignored, laws misquoted, and authority pushed past its limits. And here's the bigger picture. When officers treat lawful behavior like a crime, it doesn't just affect one interaction, it chips away at public trust. So final question for you. Who's really being held accountable here?
Officer then brings up the idea of a counterterrorism site, insisting that the area must be considered one. However, the auditor calmly points out that they've worked there for years and has never seen a drone in the area. The security officer tries to emphasize the presence of private vehicles and seems worried about the situation. However, the auditor explains a drone is flying high and within legal limits, reiterating that it's a common practice nowadays, not an illegal one. The officer shows concern but admits they don't know who the auditor is, which the auditor points out is irrelevant. The law doesn't require them to disclose personal information.
Right, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I make videos, informative videos, on emergency sites, police, all sorts.
Yeah.
Not from around the area. Drove past and thought, you know what? I haven't done that one before. Let's do that one.
Right.
I take aerial shots of buildings. Now, that building from here doesn't look that big. From above, it's massive.
Yeah.
It's interesting for people.
But because,
that's it, mate.
Because I don't know who you are...
But that doesn't mean you're entitled to my idea and stuff.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It does, because you've committed an offence flying that over private property.
What offence?
Eh?
You're wrong, my friend. What offence? If I was committed an offence doing that, I would not do it.
It's a CT site. So under certain legislation...
The sergeant shifts gears, now focusing on the visibility of private vehicles. But this is entirely beside the point. The auditor is not there to film personal cars, and that's made perfectly clear. Still, the sergeant continues, arguing that he doesn't understand the auditor's motives or identity, as if that matters. Let's break it down. Under UK law, filming from public airspace doesn't require anyone to explain their intentions or reveal their identity. Officers aren't allowed to demand personal details simply because they're uncomfortable or uncertain. It's not the auditor's job to reassure the police. It's the police's responsibility to know and uphold the law.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't have to do this, but I want to allay your concern, and I don't want you guys to be doing something like seizing the drone that you shouldn't do.
Seize your drone. We just want to know who you are. I could be talking to somebody who's wanted.
But I'm not going to give you that,
who's
mate.
Got criminal offences.
How's that going to... Okay. How would taking someone's ID allay your concern unless they are like a terrorist?
If you're working for an organised crime gang,
right,
you could be selling details of private cars that belong to officers, because we have a lot of problems.
How would you know that for taking my details unless I'm some known person that's done it before?
Well, exactly, but we don't know who you are.
This here,
which is why these officers are going to take your details.
This here, no, drone assist.
They are.
There's your police station there.
Yeah.
That's a yellow zone. If I click it, this is CAA. Brown Hazard Police Station, right? Regions where operate your drone.
Show me your YouTube video or whatever, though.
The sergeant pushes further, insisting that not knowing the auditor's identity somehow gives him the right to demand an ID. This is entirely incorrect in terms of the law. Just because an officer feels uneasy or uncertain doesn't give him the legal right to request identification. Undeterred, the sergeant doubles down, arguing that the drone's flight somehow violates private property and vaguely mentioning counterterrorism laws without providing any specifics. This isn't just sloppy policing. It's irresponsible. If law enforcement is going to invoke legal powers, they need to clearly reference the relevant legislation. Throwing around vague counterterrorism references without clarity is nothing more than a tactic to intimidate and force compliance. It's a clear abuse of authority.
I will, without showing you my channel. Sorry?
Well, mate, I'm not going to start following you.
Right. There's my channel. All right. Okay. That's what I do. Okay. I don't want to give you the channel because people complain.
I've just flicked through something there, or you just flicked through something there.
Right.
Mate,
one more time.
I don't know who you are.
I don't have to do this, but I'm trying to allay your concern so that you don't do something you shouldn't do, which is 1, take details, or 2, seize the drone, right?
Take details. Anybody we suspect of committing an offence, we can take
I haven't
details.
committed an offence. It's not an offence to fly over anything unless it's a prison or an airport, in which case it is an offence and I wouldn't do that, right? So...
Can you see how we get jumpy about people going over? I do a covert role.
Come out, ask me what I'm doing.
And I've
That's the
driven my
course.
private car past you. I have not got a clue who you are. You've just filmed my registration number. I can guarantee on your drone.
No, it's too high. It's too high.
Well, let's have a look.
It's a zoomed out camera. Anyway.
Show me.
The sergeant digs in further, making increasingly unfounded accusations, even suggesting the auditor might be linked to organized crime or collecting vehicle data. Police suspicion must be based on concrete, reasonable grounds, not wild assumptions. Just because someone is legally flying a drone doesn't warrant these kinds of speculations. In response, the auditor openly shares his flight data, demonstrating that he's operating within the law. However, the sergeant ignores this and continues to demand ID without any legitimate reason. This is exactly how public trust in law enforcement erodes. Law-abiding citizens are treated like criminals simply because an officer doesn't like or understand their actions.
I'm only showing it you.
Yeah.
I can't, it's on the memory card. I'm only showing you this so that you don't, 1, seize the drone, or 2, take my details without me wanting to give them. Or obliged to give them. I don't want that to happen. I want you to go, you know what, we're happy.
What are you afraid of?
It's the point.
Eh?
It's the point. You're not entitled to them unless I commit an offence. So if I give them to you, I'm giving away my right, my right to remain private, right?
But
makes sense.
No, but by flying a drone over private police property and private yard, then we're entitled to ask for your details.
It may raise your concern. You can come out and ask me, question me. You've been doing this job how long? A long time, right?
27 and a half years.
So by talking to me and questioning me, you're probably going to get a good idea as to intentions.
I can tell by talking to you.
Right.
You seem like a decent guy.
There we go. And that's it.
I'm sure you haven't got, but I don't know you.
But you have to leave it at that. You can't be demanding details just because you want to put that little bit of paranoia extra to bed. You can't do that, mate. And you know you can't.
At this point, the sergeant's pressure becomes so intense that the auditor feels compelled to reveal his YouTube channel just to prevent the officers from unlawfully seizing his drone or personal details. This isn't cooperation. It's compliance under duress. When a person is forced to prove they're not a criminal by voluntarily handing over personal information, despite committing no offense, policing has clearly failed. No one should ever be forced to compromise their privacy or disclose personal platforms just because the police threaten actions they have no legal right to take.
You know you can't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we
You know you can't. Anyway, that's my channel. There's my videos. All right. I did a police one the other day. Look, there it is. Yeah. We have rules on drones in Wales, right? That's my video. Okay.
Right.
That's all I'm going to give you.
You probably know more about drone legislation than I do.
Go on.
So I don't know.
Let me just check I'm still recording, mate. Go on.
No, crack on. No, I said
just in case something happens, I want to make sure I've got it as well.
I've got other stuff to do. Can you just let me through the gate? Because I've left my card in the car.
Nice meeting you, Sergeant.
And you. All right.
I hope I've allayed your concern a little bit.
Don't fly it over again, all right? You've got your footage.
I have to be fair, but it's allowed to happen, mate. I get that you're going to have you've done the right thing.
Yeah, well, of course, because...
But I think your original approach was a little bit aggressive.
What?
A little bit aggressive to begin with.
Well, no, get the bloody thing down, mate. It's over private property.
But it can go back over, can't it? So, it can go back over. I'm not going to.
I've warned you not to.
I'm not going to.
Take your drone, so...
But I can legally go over. I'm finished.
I'll go and get my uniform and I'll seize your drone.
No, but for what reason would you do that?
Let's be blunt. After nearly 3 decades in policing, it's downright embarrassing that the auditor has to teach this sergeant basic law enforcement principles. Real policing isn't about making baseless demands or inventing threats out of paranoia. It's about evaluating facts, asking logical questions, and upholding the rights that officers are sworn to protect. Yet here's the sergeant, desperately demanding ID simply because he feels uncomfortable, showing a complete lack of legal knowledge and even less regard for civil rights. After 27 years on the job, he still thinks paranoia justifies harassment. This isn't good enough.
I'm just an average Joe.
Are you willing to give your name?
No.
No?
It's obvious, right?
Right.
No.
In that case,
I don't
have you
have
got
to.
any reason to be here right now?
No, but I'm free to be here.
Okay.
You are. Obviously, like I said, I've asked my sergeant if she can speak to a drone expert because I'm close.
Yeah.
I think she said something along the lines of you have to do like a drone license. I'm assuming, is it going to be one of them drones that's like over a certain weight limit you have to have a license? And
You have to have an operator ID. You've been very nice and civil.
Yeah.
Your sergeant hasn't.
You got an operator ID on you?
There it is.
Okay.
Your body comes on.
Say that
Yeah, my body
belongs to you.
comes on, yeah.
So obviously I've folded it so you can't read the complete thing on your camera.
Yeah.
All I have to do is let you know I've got one.
Okay.
I've got one. All right.
So how's that linked to you then, mate?
What do you mean?
How's that drone operator ID linked to you?
It doesn't have to be linked to me.
Does it not?
No.
Okay.
The owner of the drone.
Yeah, drone looks a bit baffling. I don't really know much.
Operator ID has to be linked to the owner of the drone, I think. And the flyer ID is obviously my thing. I am the owner of the drone, so that ID is linked to me.
Watch how the sergeant storms off, making a direct threat to seize the drone if the auditor dares to fly again. Yet, when asked to provide the legal ground for such a threat, he simply ignores the question and walks away. This isn't just disrespectful, it's dangerous policing. The sergeant openly threatens to confiscate personal property, without any legal justification, purely because he doesn't like being challenged. His dismissive response to a legitimate question isn't just unprofessional. It's a deliberate attempt to intimidate someone who's exercising their lawful rights. Good policing means explaining actions clearly and respecting citizens' rights, even when challenged.
So, have you got proof of that right now?
Like what?
Have you got proof that that is linked to you?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Don't need it.
Fair enough.
If I suspect you of an offence,
Yes.
you have to give me your operator ID.
If it's flyer related,
Oh, flying
yes.
related. So if you just punch someone, that's not flying related. So
But then I have to give you my normal details, right?
yeah, correct.
Yeah. Same with flyer ID. If you suspect I've committed an offence with the drone, I have to give you the flyer ID.
Okay.
Because that essentially will link you to my name.
Yeah, flyer ID. What's the other one? Operator.
I think operator ID is the owner of the drone. So you could own that drone,
But you could
I
fly
could
it.
fly it.
Oh, okay.
I need a flyer ID to be allowed to fly a drone.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, you can edit that if you want.
How you doing, all right?
Hello, mate. You're right.
What's your name?
DJ.
DJ. How you
DJ.
doing? You all right?
What's your name?
Sean.
Sergeant.
No, PC.
Sergeant PC.
PC from the road policing unit, but obviously we fly drones as
What's
well.
your number? PC.
4783.
Thank you, man.
Are you doing all right?
Yeah, can I help you at all?
Have you got your drone with you?
I've showed it to him.
Have you?
I've shown him that I've got the operator ID.
Excellent. What model are you flying?
What model?
Yeah, what is it?
DJI.
Yeah, which one?
Why?
Mavic 2 Mini.
Why?
Because of the size and the weight, and then
Right.
maximum permitted takeoff mass
I'll
determined.
tell you what I'll do.
Occasions.
As you're the drone officer,
Go on.
I'll just show it you.
Yeah, nice one. Oh, the Mini. Excellent.
Under UK law, particularly the regulations set by the Civil Aviation Authority, CAA, drones with cameras, regardless of their weight, must display an operator ID. This ID is linked to the person responsible for the drone, not necessarily the individual piloting it at the time of flight. This means that while the drone must show a valid operator ID, there's no legal requirement for it to directly connect to the pilot during a specific flight. Additionally, for drones weighing 250g or more, the pilot must have a flyer ID, which is earned by passing an online theory test. However, for drones under 250g with a camera, an operator ID is mandatory, but flyer ID is not required by law, though it's still recommended.
Excellent. All right.
And have you checked your NOTAMs this morning before your flight?
Oh, what, sorry?
NOTAMs.
No.
Any reason why?
No. Don't check it every day.
You don't check it every day. You should check it before every flight.
Really?
Yeah. What do you use? Do you use NOTAMs or not?
No, I use Drone Assist.
Okay, so it will pull it from NOTAMs. And when you're flying, do you...
When you say, hold on, do you mean, have I checked where I'm flying?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, I checked before I travelled
So
up.
Drone Assist will take any warnings or hazards from NOTAMs.
No,
as well.
The word you used, I didn't know what the word meant.
Yeah.
Before I travelled, I checked the area. So I've travelled quite far today.
Where did you come from?
I didn't want to travel up.
Yeah.
I get here, and I'm like, oh, I can't fly here. So I've checked all that already.
Next voice. When the drone officer arrives, the tone shifts immediately, unlike the sergeant earlier, who came out making threats and spouting legal claims he couldn't support. This officer takes a calm, professional approach. He simply asks what type of drone is being flown, and the auditor, cooperative from the start, explains that it's a DJI Mini. This is key because the DJI Mini, weighing under 250g, falls into the lowest risk category under UK drone laws. As long as it's flown responsibly, within visual line of sight, under 120 meters altitude, and away from uninvolved people, It can be legally used in built-up areas, including over private property. The only legal requirement is a valid operator ID, which the auditor had already displayed.
I think they just presume, don't they, that...
Exactly, because they think you own that land, it goes upwards like that, and you own everything above it as well, but you don't. And people don't get that, and that's what confrontation you get a lot of times from people coming from private companies. Why are you flying over our yard? It's got lots of stock in it. Well, you don't stop a helicopter flying over, you don't stop a British Airways flight flying over. What's the difference from a drone flying over? Just because
His first words were, you're flying over private property. So you should educate your sergeant.
Yeah, when it came storming out, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's allowed. And that's why I want to double check first before he went, did something he shouldn't. Or I did something I...
For those unfamiliar, NOTAMs stand for Notice to Airmen. These are official notifications issued by aviation authorities to highlight temporary hazards in the airspace, such as air shows, police operations, emergency incidents, or flight restrictions near sensitive areas. In the UK, NOTAMs are managed by the CAA and NATS. It's crucial for drone operators to check these alerts before flying, particularly in urban areas or near infrastructure. Using apps like Drone Assist is a valid and widely accepted method, as it aggregates NOTAM data into a user-friendly format. The auditor's process is perfectly sound, and once again, the drone officer handles the situation appropriately. No pressure, no threats, just clear information and constructive dialogue.
He was just concerned that I was doing it for probably a terrorist-related something or other, wasn't he? But
and it does say when you're flying it too, like I said to you earlier, near buildings, certain areas, it does create a security risk, but you don't commit an offence.
No.
Yes, you create.
You expect to be challenged about it.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. But as long as you're legal and as long as you're doing everything as you should do, then you've got no problem, have you?
No.
There you go.
That's it, man. Nice one.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good day.
Damn it. Leave it to it, mate. It's
Yeah,
been
man.
nice chatting to you. Thanks
You
for being
too, mate.
informative.
You too. I'm gonna go. Have a good day, man.
This is where the drone officer truly shines. He calmly explains one of the most commonly misunderstood aspects of drone law: airspace ownership. He makes it clear that owning the land doesn't mean owning the airspace above it. This officer shows exactly what policing should look like: fact-based, informed, and free of ego. There's no paranoia, no emotion, and no flexing of authority. He sticks to the law, explains it clearly, and handles the situation with professionalism. Rather than escalating the situation, he brings clarity, correcting misconceptions instead of inventing new problems. This is a stark contrast to the sergeant earlier, who relied on gut feelings rather than legal knowledge.